Drifter, written by Jim Mintz.
Punch, knead, punch, and knead were his instructions. That's all you need to know. The baker took pity on him. Lucius had spent 2 days scavenging for food. His trails led him to the baker who sold at the midweek markets. He would bake for the morning and be sold out by mid to late afternoon. Lucius was in luck. The baker wanted to expand his days as demand was high. Knead and punch until the dough is softer, but not too soft, he explained. Lucius had been caught by the man while taking off with a load, a half-eaten loaf that had fallen on the ground from a customer earlier in the day. It was one for display only. The baker knew Lucius was desperate, otherwise he would have taken more, eaten half, and sold the other. He was only interested in feeding himself. The baker gave Lucius 3 loaves under the strict condition that the boy return the next day to help him knead and punch the dough for baking. The boy nodded, but had no intention of returning. The next day, however, the boy woke up on the outskirts of town to rats scurrying past. Afraid of spending another night in the same laneway, he realized it was not a future he wanted for himself. All that possessed his thoughts now was the fear in his attacker's eyes as the life force drained out. Lucius had watched him die in a matter of minutes. I did that. I did that to him. He does not exist because of me. Lucius thought. Minute by minute, those thoughts consumed him. The entity watched on in silence. It was you? The boy would wonder later, thinking of his past interactions with the alien. When he didn't get a reply, the boy remembered. Those thoughts were illusory. Lucius presented himself for work the next day and kneaded and punched the dough as instructed. The work was hard labor for his soft hands, but the more he punched, the harder his fists grew. Lucius showed up for work the next day and the next. He showed up every day for the rest of the year, and then the year after. 5 years passed, and the baker split the shifts. The boy worked Mondays to Fridays, with the baker taking Saturdays and Sundays. After 10 years, the baker passed on, leaving Lucius as the sole baker in town. He was a man now, with a wife and 2 boys of his own. He cared for them and loved them, all the while kneading the dough and punching it with just the right amount of force. You took his life away, a thought would enter his mind every now and then. It wasn't as prolific as it once was, but it was there whenever the world was quiet and the soft rain appeared on the horizon. Lucius would have a moment of meditation to himself, reminding himself of the glory of life bestowed upon him with a wife and 2 sons, then remembering the price he had to pay to receive such gifts. He's gone because of you. He could have had a wife and sons. He would still be their father today, maybe a grandfather. Maybe he was yet to be a father, and you took that away from him. These thoughts always infected Lucius, bringing him to a weekly despair, in which his only solace was the kneading and the pounding of the dough. He was 56 years old. His arms grew tired, but his hands stayed strong. Not only was he reminded of the murder he committed, but occasionally he wondered about the carpenter. He was crucified, as expected. Lucius knew such radical thoughts would not survive Rome. No Caesar would tolerate it. It was too reckless. Such naive thoughts of a 10-year-old to believe such gibberish, he thought. People said he rose from the dead. What nonsense. Lucius was a proud cynic. It allowed him to justify his sins. He would have killed me first, so I took his power away from him, Lucius thought, pounding the dough. I saved my own children, giving them a life by taking the life of the man who was to kill me. There is no eternal reward, he reasoned. The carpenter was just a carpenter, just as I am a baker. The entity remained silent. Time passed. It began to think about a life beyond the man who was once a boy. It started to think of the ideal time to drift away, to drift on to another.